Hello, it's me, Rise. Before we start, we must keep in mind, this is entertainment. What I mean is, we play for fun. Which means, some builds can be goofy, but they work. Well, some of them are not practical, but they are fun. Kinda. So my builds won't always have the best time to kill, or the best kill per minute. In a way they are optimal though, but for their own purposes, since I test them a lot in weird situations. My goal today is to break the idea that Reave is boring, so y'all can enjoy him. First things first, his kit. Passive. When Revenant's shield is fully depleted, he emits a shockwave in a 7.5 meter radius, dealing 100 blast damage with a 75% damage fall-off. He is immune to the waters at night in Plains of Eidolons. Pair it with shield regen for fences. Though, let's be honest, for today's Revenant, it's useless. The waterproof part is fine though. His first ability now. Enthrall. Put a mark on an enemy to turn them into an alpha thrall. Works on acolytes by the way. Thralls will spread the mark to any enemy it damages, up to 7 thralls at once. If an enemy is stunned by another thrall, I call them beta thralls. When an alpha thrall dies, or an enemy kills a thrall, it creates a tornado of energy, throwing projectiles and dealing damage in an AoE. Their stats don't change, meaning they can't kill unless they're about level cap. Hitting tornadoes with Danse makes kaboom. Thralls killed by Danse drop overshield. Crits, Vigo, swap, things like that work on the projectile. Still kills at level cap. Thralls got a super high taunt effect. If a thrall exists, enemies will only attack it. Thrall Pact. Get primary damage per thrall. It scales with strength. It's additive to mods like Serration, so you can switch your base damage mods with something else. His second ability now, Mesmer skin. Get 6 stacks on cast, making you invul and making attackers fall asleep. Stacks increase with strength, sleep duration increases with duration. Get 1 second of invulnerability every time you lose a stack. If the enemy that removed the stack falls asleep, damage and status received are reflected. That's what's happening there. Enthrall costs no energy on these sleepy enemies. Mesmer shield multiplies your final stacks by 1.5. It also gives 5 stacks to every ally in your affinity range. Now his third and best ability, Reave. Turn into a cloud of energy, moving in your camera direction. Except in the air, it goes in the direction you are going when you press the button, making you keep the momentum when the ability runs out. Duration affected. Sprint speed makes you move faster. Drains % health and shield from all enemies you hit. Ignores enemies' armor. Overguard doesn't change the damage you deal, but you can't damage health without breaking Overguard. You can use magnetic stacks to deal 4.25 times the damage to Overguard. Enviroll for health. Or ram into enemies multiple times. Or you can enthrall an enemy before reaving them. An enthralled enemy takes 5 times more damage from Reave. At base, Reave has 8% health and shield drain, on a thrall it becomes 40%, but it scales with strength. At 250% strength, you one-shot a thrall, or 1250% to just one-shot with Reave. You can combine thrall with viral and magnetic. One-shot at 59% strength. Ring through an allied unit while Mesmer is active will give this unit a stack. Ring through a thrall will give you back a stack. You're invulnerable for the whole Reave duration. Shield recharges during the invulnerability, and you drain enemies' shields. As you Reave, you give the status you got on you to every enemy you hit. Blinding Reave. Blinds enemies you Reave through for 10 seconds, it scales with duration. Opening them to finishers for the whole duration. It also gives 40% range to Reave, getting up to 19.2 meters. His last and nearly best ability, Danse macabre. Spin to win. Starts spinning at 1 revolution per second, emitting 9 lasers with a fixed 100 meter range, and it has infinite punch through. Deals continuous damage and has 20% chance to apply status matching the enemy's defense. Corrosive for armor, magnetic for shield, and gas for infested. It also redirects damage you take. The more damage the enemy deals, the more damage you deal. While 4 is active, you can cast the ability on slot 3. If it's Reave, it has no cooldown and casting time. Put your ability C-bind on mouse wheel. Enjoy. Don't use too fast or you'll get frozen for a few seconds though. Let's speed cap for ya. Throws killed by 4 drop overshield orbs. Hold fire button to increase these beam stats by ×2. Damage, radius of each beam, status chance, energy per second. So, what does each ability do in general? Enthrall. Thralls act as decoys. When enemies' damage is higher than their health, they can kill. Makes acolytes harmless to you. Fine crowd control. Primary damage buffer. Good subsume slot. Mesmer skin. Immortal to everything. When enemies' damage is higher than their health, they can kill themselves. Give immortality to friendly units. Fine crowd control. Reflects damage and status. Reave. Fastest ability in the game if Danse is active. Immortal. Status cleanse and transfer. Great damage ability. Great for sneaky missions. Fine crowd control. Corridor cleaner. Immortality to you and your allies if Mesmer is active. Danse macabre. Room cleaner. Defense strip. No cast time on Reave. Budget box breaker. Acolyte killer. Helminth. What's Helminth? It's a tool you use to put any of these abilities onto any Warframe ability. Can make big change. You just have to supply the big mouth with resources. You can also invigorate, or put up to 5 Archon shards. But we'll talk about these two later. Enthrall, mind control from Nyx. Make an enemy immortal with a big damage buff. They can kill at nearly any level. Framing helps. Can only have 1 mind controlled enemy at once. It also means you can have 7 thralls and a controlled enemy. With mind control's augment and some bullying, your slave will be strong. Banish, from Limbo. Cast your thralls into the rift to make them unkillable. Though I'd recommend something to group them so you can separate them from the normal enemies. Otherwise it banishes everyone in range. So the banished enemies can hit your banished thralls, making it useless. Bridge Surge, from Wisp. Emit sparks that'll track enemies. Enemies hit will emit damaging sparks when damaged. Kinda fun with Enthrall. Smite, from Emmran. Your thralls apply Rad if you hold with Smite's augment. Enemies affected by Rad will attack anyone around them, which means more thralls. Cool to control a whole map. Nourish, from Grendel. Your thralls will apply Viral really efficiently. You can use any ability while in Danse macabre, if the ability is on Rev's 3rd ability slot. So I can use Nourish anytime to keep up with my thralls dying and getting new thralls. Nourish also helps with energy economy. Mesmer skin. Rest and Rage, from Equinox. Day, enemies take more damage from attacking you. To be honest, it's not good at all. Except against really high level enemies. Night, makes enemies fall asleep so you're less likely to lose Mesmer stacks. It also opens them to finishers. Empower, Helminth ability, used to get plus 50% strength to your next ability cast. More strength means more stacks. Like, more stacks. A lot more. Xata's Whisper, from Xaku. Your weapons will deal an additional instance of void damage. That additional instance will never crit. Though it has your weapon status chance to apply void status. The difference is crazy. Well, it's on the item, so it's kinda cheating. Reave. Roar, from Rhino. You used to get a damage buff on everything. With only 500% strength, you'll one-shot everything, except enemies with millions of overguard. Though you can prime with Magnetic and Firewall to one-shot with only Roar and 200% strength. You'll need a bit more to one-shot level cap thrax, but who cares. Talking about priming, Tempest Barrage from Hydrate will make rain applying corrosive to the enemies. Have it augment Viral Tempest and it'll also apply Viral. You can spam it, of course. With about 300% strength you one-shot at 10 Viral stacks. Of course, overguard can still be an issue. Rest and Rage. One shot with 410% strength. With its augment, Calm and Frenzy, when they die, enemies spread the effect. Marked for Death, Helminth. Cast a mark on an enemy. A percent of the next damage you deal to the enemy will spread to others. Apply Viral, then Mark, then Reave, and it nukes. Tesla Nervous, from Robot. Throw a roller that will attach to a target. With its augment, Tesla Bank, the damage you deal will spread when the target dies. It's affected by each enemy's defense though. Up to 4 rollers at once. Not limited to next damage you deal. Pair it with Viral and Corrosive on every enemy to nuke. Range is short though. Arrange roller so you cover a much bigger area. The Alec procs make it easier to set up your rollers. Larva from Nidus. Pull out your moist tentacles to grab the enemies. With its augment, Larva Burst, press again to release the enemies in an explosion of toxin. Firewall, my beloved. Other Pollen abilities work too, but they're not as fun, and you will need more than 200% strength. Expedite Suffering from Emmran. Condense all toxin and slash perks into one instance of multiplied damage. Pair it with priming. Reave to one shot. The mecha set to spread the status. And Expedite Suffering to nuke. Infested Mobility from Helminth. Increase your sprint speed and parkour velocity. Since Reave's speed is only affected by your sprint speed value, it works. Danse macabre. Wrathful Advance from Kulavo. Wrathful Advance on sub 3 gives great mobility. Make sure Kulavo's ability are on inverted. Nourish from Grendel. When you shoot and when you get attacked, you'll apply various attacks to the enemies. Allied units around you get the buff too, including thralls. Then press 4 and enjoy. Defy from Wukong. Become immortal, store up damage, then release it in a sweeping attack that also knocks down enemies. Can't store damage while in Danse, since Danse already stores damage, but you still get the invul and the knockdown. The invul means enemies won't fall asleep attacking you, while not being able to kill you. It also increases your threat level. Raw from Rhino increases your damage. Few were attacking me there, meaning my damage was lower than they could. Pillage from Eldring. Cast to turn enemies' defense into shields for you. Cast again for full strip. Danse already defends strips nicely, so it ain't big, but it's still nice. Tempest Barrage from Hydrate. I already introduced it, so let's get to the point. With its augment again, you'll apply many corrosive and virus attacks, sweet for Danse. Honorable mentions for Enthrall. For Mesmer skin. For Reave. For Danse macabre. Invigorations. 3 traces per week will appear, strength or range are the coolest. At 10 Invigorations you unlock Override Warframe, lets you apply the 2 buffs from a Warframe to any other Warframe. Archon shards. Each shard lets you choose 1 buff out of 5, though forged means bigger buffs. Casting speed highly recommended. Strength is great too. Damage on enemies affected by element is better than strength if you have more than 100% strength and apply that element. Builds. The average build using all his abilities wants strength mainly, then duration. Augments can go over Ogre secrets if you don't have an Exilus or have more formas, or over intensify if you have 2 formas and wanna keep the Exilus. Exilus choice is free by the way. The aura doesn't really matter, growing power would be peak, but you need an aura form. It will just depend on the rest of your build. Here's a beginner build. Redirection and fast deflection are here to make up for the low strength. Natural talent isn't necessary of course. Heck, you can even go without any mod and it'll work, even for level cap cascade runs. Specific builds. Passive. Shield regen is the key. Going with Pillage is great. Or just use Reave if you don't want or have Helminth. Rolling Guard is a nice safety net. Arcanes are just bonuses here. They are not needed. Keep in mind this build is kinda useless. It's just fun. Enthrall. You can go for the average build. Or tweak it a bit. Mind Control over Danse, all time cause I use a Zoe to hit the target. Mind Freak is in the free slot. Banish over Danse, Firewall cause parkour is cool. Bridge over Reave, range matters a bit, so prime continuity over narrow. Smite over Danse, polarities are whack here, so I went with base continuity. Nourish over Reave, V polarity over D polarity. Need range for Nourish. Mesmer skin. Average build again. Rest and Rage over Danse or Enthrall. Command Frenzy in empty slot, V over D polarity. Empower over Danse. You can go with average build, but if you want really high stacks, you'll need to go all out. Exata over Danse or Reave. Average build, with Float Pact over Streamline to buff your promise too. Reave. Roar over Danse. You need 500% strength, so Triumbra or Strength mod, Molt Augmented, Shards mod, Vigor, or even Grimoire. With Foam Invocation, Mad Raise Sling Strength. Or you use Enthrall. That way you only need 168% strength, but you'll only one-shot your Thrall. Tempest over Enthrall or Danse. Only use this aura if you got an active cube row. Rage over Danse. With Enthrall you only need 250% strength to one-shot or 412%. Mark for Death over Enthrall. Enthrall nerfs the nuke DPS more than it helps. You'll want a primer with Viral and Corrosive. Bubonico works perfectly. Mark for Death over Mesmer skin. Become a super fun shield-gating Reave. Tesla over Mesmer skin, same as previously. You can of course put it over another ability. Lava over Danse. Archon to apply cover if you want. Prime continuity works great too. Expedite Suffering over Danse. Mecha set plus Cubro equals status spread, which means nuke. You just need one mecha mod, having all 4 makes it better though. Infested Mobility over Enthrall. You don't need any mod to be fast, but you need some to reach speed cap. Danse macabre. Wrathful Advance over Reave, hybrid build between mobility and weapon platforming. Nourish over Reave, make sure your thralls get the Nourish buff. Defy over Reave. Option 1, tiny range, so no enemies get knocked down, so you get more attack so you deal more damage. Option 2, long range, offers room-wide CC and can be used as a massive source of damage when Danse is off. Roar over Enthrall, as much strength as possible for best results. Pillage over Reave, cast twice for full strip. Tempest over Reave, Ice Sprinkle's polarities are whack. Subsume the Reave. Let's talk about how to use Reave as a subsume. It targets torso, so using it on Banshee with a sonar works when the weak point is on the enemy's torso. Since it also works with damage vulnerability, you can pair it with Yareli, Equinox, Caliban or Neja, or anyone that can increase your ability damage like Rhino, or those who apply viral like Dagath, Hydroid, Sight. Exalted modded with viral work fine too. The Nourish King himself, Grendel. When you get attacked, you apply 10 viral stacks, so you can easily one-shot. Works great with damage spread like the mecha set with priming or things like Collective Curse on Colevo. Reave also prevents 2's dagger from damaging you. You can also be fast without Danse by having a really short Reave and using it in the air. Weaknesses. There are some things that can hurt you through Mesmer skin. Won't kill you though. You stay at 2 HP. Reave's animation are damn long, so going with natural talent or casting speed is great. Reave struggles against Overguard. Magnetic procs might be necessary in some cases. Danse struggles against level 150 to 1000, especially against Grenier. It also struggles against high differences. Mira of Nullifiers and the Violence Acolyte. Last minute things. When I started editing, Warframe 99 wasn't out yet, but now it is, and it came with Arcane Impetus. It's a great Arcane for Revenant, replace mod efficiency by Arcane Impetus. It's also when I realized you can proc all Arcane mods with just Mesmer skin and Reave. Even if you can kill with cold damage with Reave, Arcane Flow can only be procced by Mesmer skin. Thralls can't proc Impetus or any Arcane mods. Enthrall itself can proc IPS for Impetus. Mesmer skin redirects status, so with Revenant you can get all Impetus stacks. Max stacks is 13, 78% strength and 39% efficiency. Here I got 11, but with Melissa's bubble plus priming you can get all 13. Just need Sentience to get the toe status, to hit the 14 stacks. If you apply hit with a secondary equipped with secondary fortifier, and then apply a hit status with an ability, the hit ticks will give you Overguard. So you can get Overguard with any Warframe ability as long as it is hit damage, and you have a secondary with 40 that applies hit. You can also pair it with Arcane Truculence to apply 10 various stacks in an AoE for every 3k Overguard. I'm spamming Thunder here to boost the Overguard I get. As you can see, once enemies run out of Overguard, it doesn't work anymore. Let's talk about spin control. What I call spin control is when you affect Danse Macabre's rotation. To do it, you just need an ability with a full body animation, I think, over Reave slot 3. It helps redirecting the lasers, not like it does much though, but it's pretty funny. Throws don't count as summoned allies, so you can't proc things like Arcane Camisado. Silence prevents violence from disabling you. Even if Mesmer is active, any damage that you take that is greater than your shield gives you back energy. Since Reave got a big shield, it's not really consistent, but if you run parasitic armor, it removes your shield, so it's always damage to health. It doesn't always work, but it works really well anyway. See it as another way to maintain your energy. I also realized the Pharaoh Predacite companion can make you deal some really big damage. Basically, one of its mods applies viral really well. Pharaoh will spit lava that will attach to an enemy. All the damage this enemy will take while the lava is on it will be reapplied to every enemy in a 10-meter range. If the enemy dies before the lava, it will deal 140% damage. The tendrils are from the first mod mentioned. As you will see, the difference between the Reave's damage and the nuke damage is massive. Roar and the viral procs, you can one-shot and nuke. Although the nuke isn't big, it will one-shot anything. Pair it with the mecha set for better results. Cosmetics. Oh, and I would expect Proto-Revenant to look something like this. Rework IDs. Passive. Every time you kill an enemy with Revenant's abilities, you get a stack. At a certain number of stacks, you reach a higher tier. Each tier will grant each abilities different bonuses. On tier 1, his passive has a weak VFX. On tier 2, his abilities now apply toe damage, and his visual effects are brighter. On tier 3, Revenant gets increased casting speed, and his visual effects are even brighter. Enthrall. Well, that wouldn't be called Enthrall anymore. I call it Eidolon Skull. Tier 1. With the powers of the Terrorist, scream to spawn a swarm of Vamvalists. These Vamvalists act as decoys that can apply magnetic. In spectral form, they can possess an enemy each to deal damage. Tier 2. With the powers of the Gantulist, create pillars of energy and keep the tier 1 stuff. Tier 3. With the powers of the Hydralist, create thunder dealing various DPS in a massive AoE. Keep the tier 1 stuff too. Mesmer skin. The spicy part. Many people want to keep it, and many other people want to get rid of it. So what I think is a good compromise is to make it weaker early in the game and make it scale. The ability itself remains the same, except that you start at 0.25 seconds of invulnerability at tier 1. Then at tier 2 it doubles, so you get 0.5 seconds of invulnerability. And at tier 3 it doubles again, so you get the whole 1 second. That way, if you want a broken Mesmer skin, you'll need to use his other ability. Reave. It was harder to figure out what to do. Tier 1, it's Reave as we know it, except that there's not the 5 times damage to throws anymore. At tier 2, hitting a Vamvalist while in Reave increases that instance of Reave's damage by ×2 per Vamvalist. Tier 3, each possessed enemy you hit will increase Reave's speed and duration for a short moment. It will also give the tier 2 boost. Danse macabre. The tier 1 is the same as it is right now. At tier 2 you get a natural infinite punch through. I say actual because the current Danse macabre has infinite punch through, but it doesn't always work. At tier 3 you can fly vertically. If you're airborne, you'll have to use Reave to move around. It will greatly help with dealing with enemies that are above you. I'm running Jade here to illustrate. My opinion. Well, you've guessed it, I love Revenant. Since he got his immortality, people only see it. But he's definitely a lot more than this. And if you put your brain into it, you'll understand why. Just run low strength, or don't use Mesmer if you think it's boring. I think everyone should try him without relying on Mesmer only. If you got any idea of stuff to try, feel free to tell me down there. Thank you for watching. Now you're a Reave genius. Young man, you too can become a Reave main. Remember to have fun. Adios.